Welcome to this neighborhood, neighbor.
I am the Martian ambassador.
Des Moines and all of Central Iowa, welcome to Max World Live. Max World is your world. Every day we talk about the issues and topics that matter most to you. And as always, it's your voice we want to hear in Max World. So join the conversation by calling 515-244-0077. And now, here's the host of Max World Live, J. Michael McCoy.
All right, good afternoon. It's 6 minutes after 3 o'clock on the 8th day of December in the Lord's year 2015. I'm J. Michael McCoy. We're just getting caught up with some of the big news stories around here. Great show planned in the next hour. I think you always heard me say that it's your voice I want to hear in Max World. And one of the ways that I think that I back that up is I love to have listeners, you, come on the show. I think you're as big a deal as any newsmaker, any politician, any preacher, teacher, pastor, whatever. So today, Stephen, who was listening to our show a few weeks ago when we were talking about Black Lives Matter, he's an African-American, and he called up. Is that the right term? Am I being politically correct there?
I think so. I believe so.
Okay, I don't want to be disrespectful. And he great guy. I loved him on the phone. He called in. I think we had him on for 2 segments.
Yeah.
And he just very nicely and Jesus-like disagreed with us. And so what better way to have that conversation than to have him on the air? So Tommy Coates, he hates it when I call him Tommy. Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Very serious.
And Stephen are going to be on the next hour, and we're going to have a real candid conversation about, I guess, racism. I mean, I guess that's kind of what it's about. It's about race. So that's coming up here in the next hour. Now, I haven't told you this. Maybe I shouldn't tell you this on the air.
No better time like the present.
I got this guy on Facebook by the name of Gabe Klein.
Yeah.
And Gabe is a smart, low information voter. Now I know that's an oxymoron, but he is. He's a good guy. Isn't a real big fan of this Jesus guy.
Okay.
And he can talk about it without being disgruntled and offensive and all that. Mm-hmm. So he's coming on Thursday with Miss Pat, my gun girl. Mm-hmm. And we're going to have some conversations about Jesus and Christianity and the Bible and politics and that kind of stuff.
Wow.
So, yeah.
What's his interest in that?
What's his? Mm-hmm. What do you mean? I ask him on.
No, I know, but I mean, what? So he's a non-believer.
I think he's a non-believer. If he's a believer, I got to think about how I want to say this. He's not as passionate as you and I are. It's not my job to judge whether he's a believer or not.
Sure.
But he certainly doesn't like Christianity and politics. That's kind of his big deal. And when we've had that conversation on Facebook, he's just nice about it. He's kind. He's not rude and offensive and call me names and stuff like that. I love it when people disagree with me. If two people always agree, one of us isn't necessary.
Right.
I've always said that.
Yeah.
But there's got to be a way you can have a cordial conversation without throwing bombs and horrible labels and stuff like that.
And Pat, what's her position on this? So she's going to take the two of them going to debate, and you're going to moderate, or how's that going to go?
I think it'll be all of us. Hopefully, you'll come in too.
Sure, that might be fun.
It's I mean, Pat's one of us.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Gabe isn't. I got to be careful here. I don't want to.
Sure.
I don't want to paint this guy into a corner that doesn't represent him.
Sure.
But Pat's all Jesus, all guns, all conservative, all the time.
Yeah.
Where Gabe, I'm kind of a middle line. Like, he sent me 25 questions.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw those. They were on Facebook. It had a Looney Tunes picture, and they're just. I hope he's not listening right now, but they're just silly questions. I mean, I kind of. I absolutely want to pay respect to this man.
Yeah.
Every moment he's on the radio.
Sure.
But I think at some point I'm going to look at him and I'm just, are you serious? This is important to you?
What are the questions? Well, what's an example? Can you give me an example of one, or would that be throw us way off topic here? I'm just curious. You've piqued my interest, so I want to know. I know that we've got a heavy news hour coming up, but
all right. Let me go back here and find He put them up on Facebook.
Are they religious questions? I mean, are they kind of, hey, Christian, answer this, or is it more, how do you justify Christianity and religion? Or Christianity and politics?
It's more of the first.
More of the answer.
It's detailed. It's detailed with specific questions about different areas of Christianity. Here it is. I don't really think it's about questioning Christianity as much as it's Christianity and politics. Okay, so 28 reasons I'm done talking to most of my conservative friends and family members. That's the title of this. And there's a blog written by someone who starts out saying, I'm a Southern girl from the South, raised in the South, never lived anywhere else but the South, da-da-da-da-da. So here's some of the questions. Let me find this because I want to do this correctly for you. All right, come on, Internet, go. Oh, they're like grandkids. They never do what you want them to do.
Well, it's funny too. Not wanting to speak to conservatives. I've found some people just some people are conservative, whether they're politically or religiously conservative. Some people are just reserved. Some people are not reserved. They want to go out and do whatever they want. Conservative people like rules. Some people don't like rules.
Yeah.
So,
right,
Chris, do you think they're the BuzzFeed type questions you asked the other day?
All right, so here they are.
I don't
Here's
know.
one.
We'll see.
You cite Jesus as your reasoning for rejecting marriage equality. You use biblical scripture to excuse yourself from feeding the hungry. You lie when you say you value freedom of religion. You claim God speaks to you and tells you to do things. You question my faith. You care more about your guns than you do about your children. You get excited about people dying. You see what I mean? They're low information questions.
Well, they're just they do remind me a little bit of the conversation we had in regards to the BuzzFeed questions. They're accusations, and they don't represent you, Mac. None of those represent you. Some of them may get close. They don't all represent me. Some of them may get close. But the reality here is that when we do this with each other, and look, we're guilty, Mac. You and I are guilty of this as anybody. Painting with a broad brush.
Yeah.
Christians are all this way. Muslims are all this way. Gun owners are all this way, so on and so forth. But that stuff is kind of
Can I take the blame?
antagonistic.
They all represent me.
Well, if you want to,
No,
I would imagine probably not all of those
I'm
do.
just kidding.
All right. So let's. So anyway, that's coming up on Thursday.
Yeah, no, that'll be fun.
And I think it will be fun. Just from you can't tell tone on the radio or on Facebook with text or anything.
Right.
But Gabe seems like a fun guy.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I would hope so.
And quite frankly, I know this sounds horrible, but if it's not, there's the door.
Sure.
It is. It's called Mac's World.
Well, right, and I think that we want to have these conversations because we want to be informed, and our listeners want to know. I think that I share equality with all of our listeners, and that I want to know the truth. I want to know all the sides to the information of the story. I don't want to just know one side of this thing. I want to know both sides. I would like to see both sides. I've got my opinions, and it's easy for me to stick with my opinions. But I'd like to hear from somebody else who's thought these things through. But I don't know. It's always fun. We'll see.
Yeah. Well,
Thursday will be a good show.
Yeah. And
48 hours.
Pat, Pat's becoming one of my new heroes. I just think she's saying what so many people are thinking.
Sure.
And she's saying it without any political correctness needed. That doesn't mean that she's the opposite of politically correct, because she's a nice woman. She speaks well. She doesn't use bastic language.
Sure.
But yet, is in a situation in her life where, she doesn't have kids in school, so the kids don't get teased at school because of what mom puts on the internet. Mm-hmm. She's independent, works for herself, so she doesn't have to worry about a boss who says, oh, well, that looks bad on us.
Right.
So anyway, I hope it's a good show. If not, we're going to call Kerry from Northern Lights and have him tell us how to make the best pizzas.
There you go.
We'll go from one end to the other. All right. Man, I tell you, and we're not going to get this whole thing talked about before we get into break, but I've always said I'm not going to endorse any candidate, but I will tell people what I think. I'll tell them who I voted for or who I'm going to vote for. I won't try to stray them. But I made it real clear here for several weeks that Donald Trump is I've been looking at him.
Yeah.
And I know there's so many guys rubbing their head. My pastor Damascus right now is just rubbing his head and pounding up against the wall. Oh, Mac, I tried to tell you. It's got to be Ted Cruz or it's got to be whoever. But the whole idea that a president who was not in any way atoned to money, contributions, anything like that, really, what do I want to say? It excited me.
Sure.
But I think I'm afraid maybe even he's gone too far now. I don't know.
This is, I don't, yeah. That is shock. He has applied shock jock language too far. He's gone too far. When we have religious tension in the United States right now at an all-time high. I've never experienced, in my short life so far, I've never experienced a time in my history where I have felt this kind of tension between religious groups.
Yeah,
right.
No, I haven't either.
We have to be careful. We have to be careful. I know this is a bit of a diatribe, but Sunday night when the president spoke, I wanted to believe him. I want to be reminded that there are Muslims in America that are my friends and neighbors, and that we have to be calm in this.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll tell you what Trump said. I'll tell you what some of the fellow candidates are saying. And it's your voice I want to hear. 244-0077. Were you a Trump fan? Has it gone too far? Where are you at? We'll talk about it next. Live on The Truth.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can give these grandkids back, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We can help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
21 minutes after the hour, 8th day of December in the Lord's year 2015. I'm J. Michael McCoy. Welcome to Max World. If you are tuning around and you have found this station, you are not listening to a 5 or 6 or 7-year-old broadcast. It's live today. This is a brand new radio station that, it's not brand new to Ames, Boone, Fort Dodge area, but it's brand new to Des Moines as of last July. The Federal Communications Commission allowed us to upgrade our signal so we can cover the entire metropolitan area. And I do the afternoon show here from 3 to 5 called Max World. And we talk about the stuff that you deal with every day, the water cooler talk. The difference is I can say Jesus, and most radio stations can't. You say Jesus too many times, like I just said it, Jesus, 3 times. The general manager or the sponsors of any other radio station would come flying in the door and say, "What are you trying to do? You trying to cause me problems? Quit saying that." And it's hard in secular radio. And this is not secular radio. This is a radio station that honors God, follows Jesus, and serves others. And we do that through great preachers and teachers, and then local talk as well as national talk. So that's what we're doing. And today we're talking about Trump. I've got Jennifer and John. I'm going to start with Jennifer, line 101. Jennifer, welcome to Max World this afternoon. So were you a Trump fan? Have you ever been a Trump fan? And is his language beginning to change that for you?
I am currently a Trump fan, and I'm going to explain why. He didn't. They're making it sound different than what he actually said. He said we need to put a stop to Muslims coming into our country until we can figure this out to make it safe. It's a temporary thing. It's just we need to have a better vetting process. They always demonize what he says because he's harsh, he's just straight to the point. I got to say it took me a while to like Trump. I mean, I went through all the candidates. I'm a Republican. So, but I just can't help it. He's kind of speaking what everybody is saying, what I'm thinking in my head. And I believe it's true. I believe we do need to kind of put a stop to it for the moment so we can protect our country better.
Yeah, and I agree with that, Jennifer. It was 1941 when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor that we rounded up all the Japanese and put them in internment camps. Now, saying that doesn't sound real awesome, but that's kind of America too. We kind of CYA. We kind of cover our own backsides because nobody else will cover them for us.
Right. And also, I'm here to say I still support Trump. He hasn't thrown me off yet or turned me off of him yet. I think that listening to the media is just crazy nowadays. You just can't do it. That's why I listen to you guys every day. You are my media.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you for taking my call.
Now, Jennifer, you do me a favor, okay? Make sure that when something is talked about on here that you think is wrong. Now, I'm not saying you disagree. You're going to disagree with me most of the time, or at least half of the time. But when you think I step over the line, will you just kind of let me know? You've got my permission to do that. Because I need boundaries. I need people that I can trust that can call me up or write me an email and whatever and say, "Hey, it's Jennifer. Enjoy listening to you, but that thing there, I didn't enjoy listening to that." Not because I disagree.
I'm not the one to step on anybody's opinion because I don't want anybody to step on mine. I am freely going to listen to yours, absorb it, decide if I want to accept it or not, and I expect that from other people about my opinions. And the thing is that that's what makes this country great. It's because we have the freedom of speech, we have the freedom of thought.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean just because I disagree with you on something doesn't mean that you can't be passionate about that subject in the way that you think about it. So maybe you might take me off one day, but I'm going to say that's just him and that's how he feels. So, but I'll be listening, and I would never reel you in. Even if you're talking about a subject that I don't agree about, I love your passion. Okay, and I think more of us need that.
Well, Jennifer, I really appreciate it. Chris, you've got something for Jennifer.
Hey, Jennifer, if you got another second, I'm going to ask you. My concern with what Trump said is not so much what he said as it is. Do you feel that it makes you less trusting of your Muslim neighbor here in America? I mean, we have Muslims in our country now.
Yeah, no, I do not, because he goes, this isn't about our Muslim Americans, the people that are already here, even though, about the San Bernardino, yes, that man was a American Muslim who was born here, I guess. But no, I do not judge my neighbor. And unless they do something, there's no reason to judge that person. And that is what he's saying. He flat out said that. I'm not talking about the people that are already here. I'm talking about until we can have a better vetting process to get, to make sure that our American citizens are safe. That is also including Muslim Americans. Okay. Yeah. Then we need to put a cap on it for right now.
Yeah, and I agree with you.
Temporary thing, and they're just demonizing him. They're demonizing him. And, I have never been this excited about a presidency ever, a presidency race. And I think just all the commotion, even though 99% of it is just horrible, is just really getting the patriotic people out there and really getting them to look at the candidates and even if it's not for Trump, if it's for somebody else, at least they're digging in and doing their research this time instead of just going along with the crowd.
All right, Jennifer, listen, I appreciate your comment, and make sure as the election cycle continues into the caucuses and stuff, make sure you're calling in and letting us know, if your opinion changes or how strong it is, or especially if for some reason.
I think Cruz, Trump, to be honest, would be a perfect ticket.
That would be a wonderful. And maybe Cruz could bring Donald to the Jesus.
Yeah.
That's what I would be hoping, is that he would work close enough with a born again that Trump would get mugged by Jesus, like I did.
Well, hey, there's always hope.
Yeah. All right, Jennifer, love you. Thank you very much for calling. Let's go to 271, where John is standing by. John, you're live in Max World. How you doing, John?
Good. I just wanted to say I wanted to point out that our immigration laws were originally written to where the people who were allowed to come into this country were people who were going to improve it somehow. It wasn't meant to be, you're a poor, you're a poor person from a poor country, so come on over and enjoy our riches. It wasn't meant to be that way. For people to come into this country, they had to show that they had a skill or a desire to get an education in a specific field, and that was going to improve our society. But, now Obama acts like, these are, poor people who don't have anywhere else to go, so we're going to give them a place to stay. That's not what our country is about. And the other thing is, with the unemployment rate as it is, and our debt the way it is, and our social services and hospitals flooded now, I say we close the door on immigration altogether, not just Muslims, but everybody. And if you look down through our history, you'll see that there have been times when we shut down immigration and we didn't let anybody in. It's not a new thing. And
it happened within the last 70 years.
Yes, and that's what we need to do. We need to just shut it down completely. Don't let anybody in. And let's get our house in order with the people that we have now. Let's get the Mexican border closed so we don't have that rush of people coming in. And let's get our country back on track. That's all I wanted to say.
Now, John, before you leave, what presidential candidate It's the 8th of December, so we are December to January. We're 60 days or so away, but 55 days away from caucus.
I'm going to vote for Trump if I have to write his name in.
All right. John, I appreciate you listening. You're always welcome in Mac's World. Thank you very much.
Okay.
515-244-0077. Frank is producing today. His voice, you'll hear it from time to time, but he's the voice at the other end of the phone. And so if you've got something you'd like to add to this program, I want to hear from you. All right, so where we started, I'm glad Jennifer called in. I'm glad both of those people called in because it kind of reinforces. I'm kind of energized again. See what my listeners do for me? At the top of the hour, I was like, maybe I'm done with Trump. Maybe he's just too dangerous. Well, both Jennifer and John make a lot of sense. And I don't know a lot of people who feel any different except for the low information voters. Those people that just want to stack the government, elected officials with people who will give them free stuff, basically.
Well, I think I disagree with you, Mac. I think that it's a little bit more of a complex issue than we make it out to be. I don't know who it was recently. I've been reading a little bit of things here and there, but if we hand over to the federal government that they can say, what religion are you? You can't be here. If we give the federal government that power, that doesn't make me feel very safe. It doesn't make me feel very comfortable. Because what happens because the conservative evangelical, the conservative Bible-believing Christian in this country is slowly becoming a minority.
Yes.
The evangelical base is changing. I think Christians, not what I would consider nominal Christians, are people who, I guess I go to church sometimes. I believe in Jesus, right?
Christmas and Easter,
right? I think that's a growing percentage. I think here, in Polk County, we've got less than 50% of the population is considers themselves to be religious of any kind, with any religious affiliation. And I think that if we give the federal government the power to say no to someone based on their religious identity, we are giving them too much power. And that's not the kind of power that I want to have. I want to give to the federal government. Now, I understand that this is primarily about immigration, and I'm.
It's about fear. It's about terrorism. It's about safety. Okay.
Right. But it's just like the Patriot Act. The Patriot Act. Right. We ought not let fear rule the day.
Yeah, but it's like John said. Every once in a while, we get in America the right to say time out.
Right.
No, I don't know if anybody else gets to be able to do that in the country. As Americans, we ought to be able to say time out. I need to catch up with the circle here. The train's moving too quick. I need to see what's going on here. Frank?
Uber liberal Bob Beckel, conservative liberal commentator, says there ought to be a 2-year moratorium on immigration from Arab males in particular and Chinese because they're coming over and getting the education, then going home and hacking our computers. So he wants to have a 2-year moratorium on those and maybe all immigration like John.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I want religious freedom.
Yeah. And that means, but if we say that back.
I know, but gosh darn it, if Christians were running around doing what Muslims are doing, believe me, we'd be thrown out of this country in a heartbeat. They wouldn't think twice about tossing us away. If we were threatening and killing and terrorizing and murdering people.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're saying we are, though,
Well, but we're not. We're not.
And that's what the Muslims in America say, but we're not.
Gabe says, I look forward to Thursday after all, love thy neighbor. Apparently, he and I live next or very close to each other. I didn't know that. But he lives apparently very close to where I live. So, yes, I'm going to love my neighbor, Gabe, on Thursday when you're here. All right, let's come back. I still want to talk about this Trump thing for a second because I haven't talked about what some of the other candidates are saying about it. The GOP's kind of coming after Trump. It's next.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Hobbs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed. Fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
.338, 22 before the top of the hour. Salem Radio Network News at the top of the hour. By the way, it's the only place in Des Moines you'll get Salem Radio Network News. Maybe the only place in Iowa? Salem Radio Network News?
I know for sure the only place here in central Iowa. I can't speak to the whole state.
I think they get it in Omaha.
Yeah, they would get it in Omaha. Salem has a group of stations actually out there.
Yeah, Salem is they're our cousin. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, they are the largest Christian-owned radio network in the country.
World.
And maybe even in the world, yeah. They're a monolith here in the United States, and they have Christian teaching and talk stations very similar to ours.
Yeah.
We're kindred spirits, as it were.
Yeah, and so we're kind of together that way. All right, let's go to the phones where John, who is in the Costco parking lot, is standing by. John, I love it. What are you going into Costco to buy, man? You know what I like? I like those big jars of those big pickles.
Actually, I wish it were that. I'm going in for hearing aids.
Oh, I'm right behind you one of these days, I think.
I've waited too long.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're listening today. So what's on your mind here in Mac's World?
Well, you're talking about Trump and the other candidates, and I was going to say, put my yammering in there, and that is that Donald Trump has done a great service. He's brought the immigration issue to the front. He has spoken from the heart. He has no holds barred, told it like it is. That said, I would only vote for him if it was between him and Hillary Clinton. Otherwise, he's at the bottom of the totem pole because I don't want to elect Don Rickles as president. Go around calling everybody hockey pucks.
Oh.
And I think it's C.S. Lewis who said, no matter how you rearrange rotten eggs, you don't end up with a good omelet. And if anybody takes the time to read the book of Proverbs, everything we're supposed to aspire to, Donald Trump is not. What energizes him? Power, money, and popularity. Again, that said, I'd vote for him in a heartbeat if it was him and Hillary. but we have some very qualified people who I believe are informed by their Christianity, not by their business success, who could do at least as good a job economically, but in terms of the issues that many Christians are concerned about, it runs circles around them. So I would say, thank you, Donald Trump, for energizing the base. Now go back to reality show and hand it off to somebody who knows what they're doing.
All right, John, are you willing to share with me and with the audience, obviously, if the caucuses were tonight, who do you think you would favor as our Republican nominee?
Oh, yeah, I'd be happy to give my opinion. My top two are Cruz and Rubio in that order. I would say Ted Cruz. I think Marco Rubio may actually be a little more populist because Cruz does have an unlikability quality, at least the media makes it seem that way. I personally think the guy's a straight shooter and tells it like it is. Rubio has a lot of that John F. Kennedy charisma, young guy, good story from grassroots, come out of nowhere. So between the two of those, I don't think we could do wrong with either one of those, but I'm just leaning toward Ted Cruz. The guy, he's just brilliant. Did a great job as the attorney for the state of Texas, and I think as a senator, he stood up to everybody, including his own party, and I think that's what people want. That's why Trump's energizing, because both parties have sold out, and it seems like there's the government and there's us. I don't feel like it's a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. It's a government of the politicians, and so that's why we want change. Would Cruz be able to change it? I think so, as much as Trump could.
John, did you hear that piece that Chris and Rebecca played last Friday when I was gone, when Rubio was kind of giving his testimony to Christ? Have you heard that?
I did not hear that. No, did not hear that.
Oh, John, it was amazing. I think it was one of the best articulations of what the whole of the gospel is. It wasn't a gospel presentation in the sense of come to Jesus, raise your hand with every eye closed and every head bowed kind of thing, but it was just a great summation. I mean, it was like a 5.5 minute summation of the fullness of the gospel. I mean, everything from, it was like birth, death, resurrection, ascension, the Holy Spirit coming. It was just incredible.
And Ryan is fine. Well, you would know where the URL is. I'll put that on my Facebook because it really, not that I didn't like Rubio before, but man, oh man, oh man. And you can tell it was not a script.
Right.
It was not, I mean, it was from the heart.
That was the thing that impressed me so much, Mac. And I think, John, if you hear this, what was neat about it is it wasn't typical rhetoric. It wasn't just the I like Jesus, Jesus likes me, Jesus loves you kind of stuff. I mean, it was a very detailed account, and you could tell it just came from who he was. That I think in some way that really informed him. Now, does that mean that every policy he makes is going to be exactly the policy that I like? No. But man, he seems to know this Jesus guy, and I like Jesus, and that means something to me.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'll look forward to getting that link and listening to that, because I think he is just a fine guy. The only reason why I think a lot of people just have to warm up to him a little more is because he started out on that Gang of Eight on immigration.
Right.
A lot of people haven't forgiven him, even though he's basically repented of that and said, okay, I get it. That was not the right thing, and okay, I'm moving on. But a lot of people are still raising that up the flagpole, saying, oh, look at Rubio. Well, I think he's changed his tune. That's why he's, to me, a very close second to Cruz. I'd support either one of them in a heartbeat. Now, having said that, I think it was Martin Luther who said, I'd rather have a competent Turk than an incompetent Christian. And being a born-again Christian is not in and of itself sufficient to make me want to vote for somebody.
Right. Yeah.
I think back to Jimmy Carter, who has a great heart. I'm glad his brain's cancer-free, which at least tells me, I guess he does have a brain after all. But, Carter was a great man, and some of the things he's done since then, but the guy was a terrible president, in my estimation.
Yeah.
So Christianity per se is not the magic ticket to make a leader a great leader. Nor is being a non-Christian the death knell. However, to have someone who is competent, who is informed by their faith, to me, that's a dynamite combination. That's what we need.
Yeah. All right, John, go get Costco. Get me the big jar of pickles.
Hey, you're next. You're next, Mac.
I know. I am. My grandkids are always reminding me that I don't listen to them anymore. It's because I don't listen. I can't hear them.
See you, John. Thanks, man.
All right.
All right, John, thank you very much. 515-244 0077. Real quickly so I can move on. Carly Fiorina criticized Trump today in Des Moines, calling his plan to ban all Muslims from entering the country dangerous and a violation of the Constitution. Quote, I think Donald Trump's comments this morning had as much to do with Ted Cruz doing well in last week's poll as anything else, she told reporters at the American Enterprise Home Office. A Mammoth University poll released yesterday showed Trump surrendering his lead in Iowa to Texas Senator Cruz. Trump issued a statement later that day calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States in response to terror threats. Trump needed the spotlight back, says Farina, former CEO of Hewlett-Packard. So this is what he said, and everybody's paying attention. Well, boy, she said it, didn't she? I mean, that's...
Well, I think there's a lot of truth to what she says.
Yeah.
I mean, I think one of the things that is infuriating a little bit about the Trump machine is that he can say, hey, you're an idiot, and he gets on TV and everybody wants to talk about it, and he's got more name recognition than anybody running on the Republican ticket right now, and that's a huge thing for him, and he keeps himself on the TV, and people are going to keep talking about it.
Chris, Trump may be the only man out there that could hammer Hillary on stage to her face and get away with it. Other politicians, the media would come down on like a ton of bricks, but Trump could get away with it.
That might be. I mean, that might be true. That might be true. But I would. Can I say something to John's point? And this is our last caller made the comment that Trump is. I'm not going to say his words right, but that he is egotistical, that he is pompous, that he is all about the power. That's what it is. He's all about the power. And that's a thing that troubles me a little bit, because for all the things that we can say, good or bad, about our current president, I think that we can say that President Barack Obama likes being the president of the United States, and he likes the power and authority that comes with it. He likes that he can get on TV and tell us how to feel. He can get us on TV and tell us what to think. He likes that. And I don't know that I want another person who just wants to get up there and tell us how to be. I want someone who will work with the whole of our government and work with the people.
I've had people say that Donald Trump is just the other side of the Barack Obama coin.
He very well might be.
All right, we're coming back. Last break. Next hour, Black Lives Matter. Listener, Stephen, an African-American, takes a little bit of questions with some of the things we say about that, and he'll be our guest here live on The Truth.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
All right, 10 minutes before the top of the hour. A couple local stories I want to get out there. You know, if you've just come and moved to Des Moines in the last few years, like you have, Chris, I think you're discovering what a huge success story Des Moines is. Always been very impressed with our city councils, the way they work together in different cities. And there's a dream that's about to come true, and that is the final leg of the South Side, what's called the Southeast Connector Project. Can he have his mic on, please, Frank? The road is already open through East 14th Street, and by next spring, it'll go all the way to East 30th. And the next step then is to take it all the way to 65. It's about a $200 million project. But the south side of Des Moines used to be a long ways away. I mean, I can remember before the connector was there, to get to the south side, you basically had to take 235, take 63rd to Park, or I'm sorry, 63rd to Army Post, and then go left. Or you had to go down Southeast 14th. And there wasn't a quick way to get there. And so that's kind of cool for those of us that have been around to see that finally happen. Now, on a not very good news, a former Pleasant Hill daycare provider was sentenced Tuesday to 5 years in prison for abusing children. Christina Williamson pleaded guilty to 2 counts of child endangerment. Listen to this. So she was arrested this summer when her estranged husband put hidden cameras in the house, and the cameras caught her abusing the kid she was caring for. Now, I understand the tragedy here. That I understand all that. But I'm trying to crawl inside the head of the estranged husband. Am I happy here? Am I sad? Do I feel guilty? Am I convicted that I did the right thing? If they have children together, okay, see what his actions did. Now, again, I'm not saying they were wrong. I'm not at all. But there's a dynamic here that we have to look at, and this is a formerly married couple, and the husband turned the wife in on something really bad. I mean, she would not have been faced 7 years in prison if she had not done something wrong. But I just wonder how that husband feels. I mean, if I was estranged from my wife, no matter how much pain we may have put each other through, I would never want to hurt her the way obviously he has hurt this woman. Again, she was hurting children. So I don't know. There's an interesting dynamic.
No, there absolutely is, and you know, he may know more to the story than what anybody else knows, frankly, too. I mean, there may be more on the other side that way too. He may see this as evidence of something that was justice, evidence of something else that was going on, and finally we've got justice is being served. You know, we talk a lot about that here as we consider what's going on in our country. We want those who need to be defended, you know. When we do bad things, justice needs to come to us, no matter how much we might otherwise be nice. All right, one last story about a husband and wife, and this will tickle you. Okay, this is coming from Upton, Massachusetts. Okay. Dateline, Upton, Massachusetts. An Upton man who set aside a retirement nest egg to play the Massachusetts State Lottery won $1 million on a scratch ticket and briefly kept the win secret from his wife. For many years, Raymond Hazel put aside $10 to $15 each week from his paycheck to build a fund that he would use to play the lottery when he retired. Okay, now you with me on this? Yeah. Hazel purchased the winning ticket in the $4 million gold bullion game at a wine and spirit store there. After claiming his prize, Hazel's plan was to surprise his wife, Elizabeth, with a dozen red roses and a bottle of champagne, along with his grand prize winning check. Honey, here, I love you. You like roses? Well, yeah. Can we toast our marriage with some champagne? Oh, you're such a romantic guy. Oh, by the way, here's a check for $1 million. Shut the door. Who am I married to? After claiming his prize, Hazel's plan was to surprise his wife. Hazel said he would use his winnings to pay off the mortgage on his summer home and do home renovations. I just think that's funny. I think that's kind of cool the way that worked out. All right. Yeah. If you won, you know, this is the question. If you won the lottery, if you stopped at Come and Go on the way home and you scratched off a ticket, how would you tell your wife? Did you ever think about that? You know, I don't, because I don't play the lottery, so I don't think about it too much. I would just be flabbergasted. I don't know. I'd probably just hoop and holler around and say, I won.
Now,
or we won.
Is there a Texas lottery?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, but you just aren't a lottery player.
I'm just not a lottery player.
Okay.
In the state of Texas, the funds go to public school. It's a public school thing.
Okay.
There's tax money for that. I don't know how it works here.
All right. Well, every once in a while, and maybe we're like other couples, maybe we're weird.
Sure.
But my wife and I'll say, the big jackpot, the yeehaw, or whatever that noise is they make on TV with the lottery. Yeah. And Terry Rich, I've known him for years. We used to work on KIOA together. It's $14 million. It's $140 million. What would you do with it?
Right.
And so we'd play with that. And I'll tell you, one of the things we decided we'd do is we wouldn't tell anybody.
Oh, man.
We'd call our law firm. In fact, I think I've probably had this conversation with my lawyer. We'd call our law firm. They would represent us. Now, in Iowa, I don't know if you know, but you can't be anonymous if you win the lottery. They want to use you as a promotional tool.
Sure.
So we decided that we just would not tell. We wouldn't even tell the kids until it had to be talked about. And by then, all the funds would have been allocated. Kind of like, I don't know if you know that couple from Bondurant. A wonderful couple won the lottery, and they ended up building a stadium, I think, for the school. They ended up opening a grocery store over there. They really poured it into their community, and they kept it secret until the last possible minute that they had won the lottery.
Right. And for good reason. I mean, they've made movies about the hoo-ha-ha that comes along with winning the lottery and all the people that come out of the woodwork saying, you owe me this, or, hey, Uncle Jed, it was so great to see you, and
I know.
Yeah, it's a crazy thing. People want that money.
We don't play the lottery either, so I just don't play because I think it's lousy odds. Plus, Tom Coates would just beat me silly with a rubber banana if I was gambling.
True. I will confess, though, during the holidays, it's fun to get the little scratch cards.
Yeah,
pass them out to the kids.
Yeah,
and you scratch them off.
Pass
you win
them out to the
win
kids.
A couple of bucks.
Listen
That's kind of
fun. No, I don't know what the odds are. What are the odds?
To win $1 million plus lottery, it's 14 million to 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not very good, is it?
You have a better chance to get hit by lightning a couple times.
Ooh, lightning.
14 million to 1 in Iowa. That'd be tough to do. It'd be hard to be that one.
Yeah, it'd have to be 7 or 6 times, 5 times the population to buy tickets.
It's a very regressive tax, guys. Bottom line.
I know. I knew the minute you walked in and we're talking about the lottery, I'm dead meat.
Busted.
All right.
Busted.
Got a gentleman in our studio by the name of Steven. He's a listener. He called in a month or so ago and had some really intelligent and wonderful things to share with us. He's an African-American. I've asked him to come in. He's our guest next hour. A lot of stuff going on right now. It's a great time to have Steven. And we appreciate you taking the time to listen, because without you, I love my job, and I couldn't do it without you. You realize that. Sitting here talking to myself is boring. My dogs think it's fun, but it's boring. So I thank you for listening to The Truth. We're coming back after Salem Radio Network News at the top of the hour.